So I want to talk just a little bit about one of the ways that I think we get anxious, one of the ways we become a worrier. And I've seen this an awful lot in my practice of late. A lot of my clients, I think, have their anxiety manifests from this place. And it's what I think of as pressure cooker anxiety. So I think sometimes what happens is when we're often young, or certainly sometime in our past, we go through an experience that feels really big. And the emotions that come with that often feel too big and a bit scary. So that might be something like your parents separate when you're little, or maybe there's some bullying at school, or maybe there's a loss of a loved one, or you moved house and you never really got over it, you never got to say goodbye to your friends, or something like that. And at the time when we're little, we perhaps don't have all the tools to cope with it, so it does seem way too big. So I think often what happens is what we do is we sort of push it down, we kind of pressure cooker it down and let it sort of fester, but so long as it doesn't get out, we'll be fine. But once we put all that pressure on it over years and years, it starts to expand and find ways out, squirting out. And I think the squirting out is the anxiety. And it's almost like the anxiety is rough, the anxiety is really horrible. But actually the anxiety I can cope with, it's the thing, it's the feelings for the thing, that's more scary. And I notice this a lot with my clients, that it almost becomes, when I think they've got this pressure cooker anxiety, that it's like anxiety, although it's horrible, is preferable to the really scary feelings that we don't want to be feeling. And caught up in that, I think I see my clients also not feeling lots of other really cool feelings like joy and freedom and compassion and love and intimacy and things like that get missed in that process. So what I do with those clients a lot to help reduce the anxiety is create a safe space with them in which they can feel those original feelings. I think feelings are a bit like food sometimes, in that we need them on a regular basis. They're nourishing to us. They give us a rich experience of life, but once we've got them, we've got to then digest them. And I think part of the problem with this pressure cooker anxiety is that those feelings were never really digested. So with somebody else now, and the with somebody else is so important in this process. With somebody else now, somebody who knows what they're doing, who's non-judgmental, who can help in the articulating of those feelings and help in the facilitating of those feelings. We allow ourselves to feel bit by bit and in a safe way. We're not rushing at anything here. We're going to take our time with it and do it gradually but effectively. And what I notice happens is as people start to feel their feelings, the anxiety starts to come down. And once people have felt enough of their feelings, they've digested that experience, they can then just remember it rather than, say, reliving it or being scared by it like it's some kind of monster under the bed. And often when they can remember it and they've processed those feelings that went with it, all sorts of other lovely feelings, some of the more positive aspects of that, come out around those experiences that we were trying not to make contact with. Like I've had a few people in the last year who never really processed the death of a loved one, and when they did, they could then start to remember all of the good times that they had with that loved one, and before that had been lost to them. But once they'd managed to feel those feelings that they were shutting away, so much opened up for them. It was so wonderful to see all this cluttery headspace of anxiety and worry simper down and just settle as these people became more in contact with their feelings and more able to process them and put them away where they belonged. So I think I see a lot of pressure cooker anxiety in my clients, and if you think that sounds like that might be something that you've experienced or do experience, then do give me a buzz, do give me a call and book in for a session, and we'll see what we can do to make contact with this in a really gentle, delicate way, but to do something effective with it that makes a really big difference for you.